Guys, okay, so today I'm going to talk about Venus in Aries, which is going to be a very boosted up, very fiery Venus, especially because it's going to be ruled by Mars that's in Leo now. So this is so much fire coming on after we've been in a lot of water and in a lot of limbo. And this Venus in Aries, it's really about taking action towards our deeper soul desires and listening to that primal, instinctual urge, when it comes to the things that we want and in our relationships. And it'll help us break out of a lot of stale karmic loops and patterns when it comes to our relationships because it's very pioneering into the new. And with Neptune here, we're going through this evolution majorly with our solar plexus already. And this is kind of gonna, snap us into the new kind of relationship, which is more about the, sensing the divine counterparts. That is a very instinctual thing. It is all about the kundalini and the chemistry. And, you just sense it right off the bat. There's a sensing it, there's a knowing it. And you just, kind of act on it, with that. But Venus in Aries, it's fiery, it's passionate, it's primal, courageous, raw. It's all about taking that action. It's the warrior lover. It's passion and fire rather than gentle courtship. It's kind of like, hooking up and like just sensing that fire first, then, having the, divine counterpart relationship. But this is giving us a little bit of a taste of what, our relationships are evolving into. Because they are going through a evolution with Neptune here now. And this is going to help us evolve majorly. And I'm going to go through all the signs and how this is happening for you. And I'm also going to go through the gene keys that are being activated, with Venus conjunct Neptune, Venus making a sextile to Pluto, and then, conjuncting Chiron. And then also when Venus is trining Mars, because those are all the transits. So these are all pretty good transits, it's a little bit of a healing moment and everything. And technically, Venus is in detriment when it's in Aries, but that's because, especially I've noticed with younger people, if they have this placement and they're young and, teenagers, it's like, they go first towards the desire, towards the want, towards the, interest, and they ask questions later. So we do have to be a little bit careful about that. There needs to be some sort of wisdom at the same time with this instinct, because this is like, I think majorly like Kundalini energy is just going to start getting fired up, with this transit. I'm already feeling it already. But Kundalini energy, that's what you get when you do run into these like strong soul connections and, twin flames. And there's just that knowing. And, it is just that instant attraction and that magnetism towards, this person. There's that pull. And if you don't know what a Kundalini is because I didn't when I was first going through my Kundalini awakening, it's that like it is that sexual energy, but that sexual energy is what's connecting you to more of your creativity, more of your higher self, more of your soulful essence. So it is very important to make sure that the Kundalini is rising. So you can get it to the crown chakra and get in touch with your higher self and that knowing versus keeping it stuck in the lower chakras, because then that's also how you can take action from those lower impulses versus being connected to your higher self and using it for creativity and, passion and, for that divine counterpart, like, connect type of connection versus just flings versus just you know like sexual retention would be very powerful around this time. Men and women do it differently, but it is like a powerful time, even though there's probably going to be an abundance of sexual energy. It is a powerful time to use it for, higher things too. And, besides just, the lower things, it can go towards drugs. It can go towards like, flings. It can go towards, I don't even know if the P word. I don't even know if you can say that on YouTube, so I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, it can get us in touch with more of our higher self and our higher knowing. And when that happens, and we're going to be so connected with more of that impulse, so it breaks us out of our ego. So we kind of, listen to those deeper emotions that need to be fulfilled. And, that's the thing when you go through like some of those like intense soulful awakenings, and that's what's majorly a part of awakening is, running into those like strong soul connections, because there's a part of you that can't logic out the connection. You have to feel it intensely. You get those intense feelings that you can't suppress anymore, that makes you realize more of yourself and what you have been ignoring, instead of living on autopilot all the time. And I listened to this quote off of Westworld, and I freaking love it because it's so true. We're getting out of stale autopilot mode where we would normally just coast through life, where we just constantly like look for direction and look outside of ourselves. Okay, it is, oh yeah, we live in loops as tight and as closed as the robots, seldom questioning our choices, content to be told what to do next. And it's true, like, we get stuck in just these loops and these patterns, and they're very unconscious. And, it's kind of a way that we, get stuck like just in the, comfortable matrix way of living that, keeps us just content. It keeps us, just comfortable. But it doesn't satisfy that deeper primal need. And I think that's what's going to be coming on for a lot of people. So it actually just breaks us out of these loops and these patterns. So it is all about going towards the new, where you're feeling that agitation and just that unsettledness to like go after something. That's going to be, just amped up a little bit more now. It's going to be majorly just purifying ourselves too, so we do lead more from the heart instead of from the ego in the mind, so we're, whenever we do feel that stuckness or that agitation, we can get into our heart more and start listening. Because, we're just going to be broken out of the ego more and more. And it's just about finding a balance between those so we can listen to our heart and our soul and purify what's just been programmed versus what our heart and our soul is uniquely really telling us. So it's about finding a balance between desires and then surrendering to the deeper love, especially the deeper self-love, which can be so boosted up during this time. And I'm going to tell you how, because this can be used obviously for manifestation. So we can direct our passions from the heart, more so. That's why it's important to kind of get the chakras up. But this is a big creativity boost, and I wouldn't be surprised if strong soul connections come in for a lot of people around this time, because this is the new kind of relationship paradigm. I mean, no matter where this is happening for you, some more than others, but we'll go over that. But these strong soul connections, they don't make sense and that's, this is what's going to help awaken a lot of people, because they come into your life, they don't make sense, but they come in to shake up your world in a big way, because you have to listen to these deeper feelings and this deeper soulful pull in a certain direction towards this person. And also like, why are you feeling that energy? Why are you feeling that energy? That is your soul pulling you more so in that direction for a reason, because these soul connections, they do get you more in touch with more of your soul, more of your frequency. It is kind of an energetic thing where, it's making more of you come online, like more of your chakras, and, making you realize more of yourself versus where you did shut yourself down and put yourself on autopilot. So a lot of it doesn't, a lot of the times they don't make sense. If you try to logic it out, you'll stay in the loops and the circles, especially with twin flames, like the loops and the cycles and the patterns. And especially, kind of with both, twin flame is the extreme version of this. And then strong soul connections, you can still feel that pull too. But um, I would say like the strong soul connections, they're a little bit smoother, they're easier to go through versus twin flame. It's very dramatic and it is so amped all the way up, and you kind of don't know until you like look back. But you go through a major, especially as the feminine, because you get shot up, kind of straight to like 5D land, like connecting to the higher chakras. And you definitely go, a little crazy. Like it is probably one of the most intense spiritual awakenings that you'll ever go through. The masculine goes through it later. Feminine goes through it first. And, I think for the masculine, it's a lot faster actually whenever they go through it. But it is that major Kundalini energy that kind of, goes through for months at a time, off and on, especially the first year and a half and or 2 years. So it's like not a small thing, and you get it at a way more intense level with the twin flame, and it literally that Kundalini energy, it does majorly feel like ecstasy. And yeah, you get that with karmics too. But there's a time where it dies, and then you get it with strong, soulmate connections. But it's just not as intense, and it doesn't die really because there's still always that unconditional love for strong soulmate relationships, and there is always evolution too. But like, yeah, twin flame is taking it up to like 10, turning the dial all the way up. And you don't really know until you look back. You have to go through the process, because then you're like, oh wow, that was like really intense. But yeah, it feels like ecstasy, feels very exciting. So if you're running into one of those connections right now, that's soul recognition. It's actually just more of you and how you can get in touch with more of yourself and your higher self. And it's not about them. So you don't need to focus on them. You need to become the center of your universe and recognize where, you can embody more of that for you, so you don't feel the constant need to go get it from that person, because it's actually not even coming from that person. It's coming from more of you and your connection with your higher self. So these soulmate relationships in general will expand the bandwidth of the way you feel. It is very violent, actually. So, like, because where we went on autopilot and where we stopped ignoring a lot of our emotions is where we doled ourselves out. We numbed ourselves out, through just, being fine, like scrolling on TikTok or watching a bunch of TV, or, all the ways that society likes to keep us numb. Like this just wakes us up and makes us like feel like the whole extent of, the emotional spectrum. So we can get that soulful guidance, so you can become more of a master of that soulful guidance and what your soul is telling you and what direction to go in, what's good for you, what's not good for you, all the different ways, like how, so you can have more faith with following, your own path versus like getting instructions from the outside. It just makes you more empowered to listen to yourself and just have that knowing of what's going to be good for you. And yeah, so you'll kind of break out of subconscious loops wherever you're just questioning, and that's your ego. You're gonna get all your answers from the soul. So that's a major thing where you do have to start listening to your heart, listening to your soul now. Um, so we break out of those loops and those patterns where we'd be like stuck. And when you go through a Kundalini awakening too, your interests change. Everything kind of changes. Like the way you act in relationships change. Your like everything changes because you start acting from that higher, and wanting to be more of your higher self. So these connections make you be more of your higher self, because you'll start treating family better, you'll start treating friends better, you'll start picking higher friends and everything, and better ways of eating, because everything just like elevates a little bit more. So recognize that change that happens at a deeper soulful level. But yeah, it's getting out of the loops and into our deep soulful truth. What we recognize at that deeper level, what we feel at that deeper level. So we, go on our own unique path. And so it's going to require like deep honesty with yourself, because especially like when those connections come in, like you have to be deeply honest. It gets you so in touch with your deeper truth and knowing that you do completely change your life. You do completely feel a need to do something so different because you're just becoming more embodied. And it's going to be, those intense feelings that you can't ignore. So you do, make those changes. The whole point of those, though, is to put yourself first. It's not like this magical relationship comes into your life and saves you, and, that's like the job of it. No, the whole job of these powerful soulmate relationships and twin flame connections and all of that, divine counterparts, is to help you become that highest version of yourself, to be more in charge of your life, to realize that you are the sovereign creator of your life. Because because no one's coming to save us. Religion kind of taught us like there's going to be whatever, someone coming to save us. Look outside of yourself for help. Look at the authority, look at the church, look at the whatever. But what's going to save us is us, is getting in touch with our own creativity and letting God work through us, so we can create our lives and create a better world and create better communities for the highest good of all. So don't get stuck in these relationships. You have to put yourself first. If you feel like you've been droning on, if you feel like you've been stuck in loops, you just got to let them play out too, because it's also divine timing. And pay attention to how you feel in these connections, because if you feel really good and if you feel like, you're evolving and growing in them, then yeah, stay in them. If you're feeling stuck and tanked and like you just constantly, just get, just like you're stuck, then it's time to kind of probably evolve out of that and step into more of your higher self. And you become more magnetic, in general, after you go through kind of an awakening like that. So it's majorly like trial by fire, like when it comes to our relationships. So we get in tune with our own center, with what we want and what we want to create and how we can be the most empowered version of ourselves, and purifying anything that's not a part of that. So we can surrender to this kind of deeper love and, deeper self-love. So I love Neptune. Okay, one of the first aspects it's making is Venus conjunct Neptune. And I love that because this is happening, the Venus conjunct Neptune and the Venus sextile Pluto is both happening in the gate 25, which has to do with universal love. It has to do with, the ways we haven't embodied our full self and our full identity because of fear, so there can be a lot of fears that we break through during this time, so we can be more embodied, so we can act more out of love, because there's so many ways that maybe we don't, take action or don't create, go after a certain relationship, or don't go after that money that we know we can really make. And it's all out of some sort of fear, and it could be some sort of outside fear. And, instead we can kind of just stand in more of our power, because wherever we avoid the fear just gets stronger, and, we're making the fear more powerful. So it's kind of like being able to stand straight in the fear so you can find more of that love, instead of avoiding things because, you're cutting yourself off and you're being cold. You're just like listening to your fears. You can go charge towards these things and embody more love and be more in flow with divine, synchronicity and the divine flow. Like it's like you're always at the right place, right time, and you just have to trust in the universe that that is the case, and realize that everything that comes into your orbit is serving you, good or bad. As long as you take it as good, then you can take the challenge to find more love. You can heal any shame and recognize where you might have been acting out of acting from your own wounds or just completely turning off and being cold, because that creates a lot of constriction. Wherever we have been kind of constricted is where we really limit ourselves. This is the gate of constricting in order to be safe. And, just we've all felt that constriction versus where we can release, we can surrender, we can open up to more love and more flow and kind of know that we're going in the right direction and like be more connected to everything and everyone. I love that with Venus here. It's like we can recognize where we've been constricting ourselves, when it comes to relationships, our creativity, our self-expression, relationships, love, relationship patterns, where we can go through this powerful evolution with Pluto in Aquarius, like finding more connections, finding how we can maybe face the fears of, the audience or, different kinds of people, where we can kind of like power through that. And we have, a lot of confidence here with, Venus and Mars are going to be trining the whole time. Exact trine doesn't really happen until the 22nd. And I love the gate that's happening in. We can have a lot of confidence, but we have to put ourselves out there. We got to listen to the fire. We got to go through that evolution. And it's that evolution feels so good because you feel less restricted and you kind of go through this fear of whatever was holding you back for whatever reason. And you're like, that wasn't so bad, and you put yourself out there and you just like, kind of go through the adventure of evolving instead. So look out on the 22nd to the 5th, where you can kind of like go through that evolution to be more embodied. 22nd, but Venus is going to be trining Mars exactly, but they're really following each other this entire time. So the masculine and the feminine feeling, that fire, like Mars in Leo is all about courageousness, it's boldness, it's glamour, it's following our, kind of letting our inner child maybe take control for a little bit with, more fun, more excitement, more creativity. It's going to be really good to have a creative outlet this entire time. Yeah, Venus is just all about embodiment in Aries. So that's going to be happening at the gate 51. So this is about awakening. This is about shocks. This is all about not holding on to the old and kind of listening to that agitation I was talking about and that frustration. And there's so much of that kind of rampant in the world right now where we're all kind of agitated at each other. But it's because we're not listening to that agitation and then like looking for the ways that we can evolve into the new and create more, instead we're just like status quo, let's keep things the same, let's not evolve. But this is where, at least in your own life, you can kind of listen to the shadow. So, mine the shadow to find the gift, because when you dive deep into the shadow, you find more of that creativity, you find more of that embodiment, you find just that missing piece in that whatever you have been suppressing, so you can bring it to the surface and find the gold in it, step into more of your embodiment, more of being the leader of your own life, majorly listening to your intuition, and not suppressing your intuition. So you're feeling that agitation because it's like your intuition trying to pull you somewhere, being like, here, look, go. This would be, a great time to actually listen to it, to like see what else is there. Like, so in your relationships, it's like maybe where you were harsh before, maybe where you were suppressing your own needs or your desires, or, this could be at work too. You can kind of like listen to where you're, just agitated or being harsh to find that next evolution. Venus conjunct Chiron. So this is us healing majorly so we can have more embodiment, way more self-love. Like this is a recognition of, our wounds and everything with fully taking power, fully saying I am and creating the way that we want to create. And, healing that wound so we can have more empowerment moving forward. And this is happening in the gate of 42, which is expectations. I have this one. So the wound is expectation. We can when we listen to the mind too much, and when we plan too much, and when we want things to go a certain way, we set ourselves up to, we hold on to expectations, like just assuming things are going to go this way. This person is always planned to go in this direction, instead of coming back and really talking about it. Or one day I'll do this, so you put it on pause and you don't do this. And that is the worst way. You'll never do that. If you always do that with everything that you want to do, you'll never do it. You're putting it off to, indefinitely, and you'll never do it. So it's like listening to where you've had that kind of expectation about things that you actually want now, where you can kind of harness the day. You can kind of seize the moment. You can, not stall. You can let go and detach. And that is more self-love, when you can detach out of your expectation of others, because that's what's going to make you happy, when that's never the case. You have to make yourself happy first. And there's always a way that you can embody more fun, more creativity, whatever that relationship was supposed to give you, where you can be in the present moment now, and it actually raises your frequency and empowers you more, so you can go after the things that you want. You can have more fun right now. You can have an adventure right now. You can have more money right now, but it's like you giving yourself more of that permission by detaching and realizing that is love, when it comes to your relationships. Lead by example, and you're not waiting around. You're not stalling any of the energy. You're just being bold. You're living your best life, and you're living in the present moment. And you're believing more in the adventure of life, with more faith and trust with the universe, instead of saying the ego's way by keeping your box, linear and very small. You're kind of opening up to the ways that the universe can give you, so much more. It's like that meme that always goes around, like my plan, which is that tiny little plan, and then the universe's plan, which is always so much more. So releasing expectations in any way, so you can kind of listen to the flow of events, and let the cycles of life and death and rebirth happen, and let the unexpected happen, and the full adventure of life happen, so you can find magic in your everyday, and just be, when you're more in flow with life, with synchronicity, let everything happen at the right place at the right time, and just have that higher frequency overall, and let things evolve a lot faster, so you can have more creativity too, and allow any challenges to be opportunities for growth. Like, oh, that was surprising, but every challenge is for more growth. So yeah, this gate always reminds me of like Dia de los Muertos vibes, just very like, it is like celebration of life and death, and like rebirth, and just like, yeah, so you can live with the just abundance of life, when you really do just let go. So I did pull some cards just to get any more messages that needed to come out. But yeah, this isn't, this is relational in a way, but it's definitely with the new solar plexus like activations coming through. We're already going through that solar plexus mutation. The solar plexus, the yellow flower of life, supports our sense of self, our personal power, our willpower, as well as our knowing of who we are and what our contribution is to the whole. And finding power with that. There is definitely major adventure vibes, like letting yourself go, follow that passion, follow that interest, so you break out of past beliefs, wherever you were kind of so stuck on one way, one point of view, one way of things happening. So you can actually just allow, this is like connecting us more to the universal love, and more of the connection to everything and everyone, and divine timing and synchronicities. So we can just allow us to be the most empowered with our own life path, and our own universal flow towards what's really meant for us. And we'll have a sense of victory majorly, with that, with like finding that spark, finding that passion, finding maybe random people to connect with, finding a new way to do things, and treating life as an adventure, so we can actually be more connected to our higher self. We're going to be easily connected to our higher self and higher inspirations, where we can kind of release a lot of our mental mind traps where we kept ourselves in, boxed in some way. We can let the magic happen. Magician came out. Let the magic happen. We're gonna see a new way of pioneering where we can kind of manifest in a very easy way by listening again to our higher selves. High Priestess came out. And this is like listening to your own emotions in your own internal world and your own fire. Page of Wands. What lights that spark? Where are you being drawn to? Where is this new thing kind of breaking you out of the box in some way? Allowance, without judgment. Be open to whatever comes our way, without judgment, without opinion, without fear, and without resistance. When we allow, the universe becomes our partner in the wondrous dance of existence and expansion. So yeah, I love that. All good cards pretty much came out. Just ignite, connect whatever that spark is to your own personal power, and then like I think this Venus in Aries can go, be really, really powerful for all of us. Okay, so I'm going to go through all the signs and oh wait, for actually for this Venus in Aries, you definitely want to do I am affirmations. I am affirmations, you can really reprogram your DNA. Actually, if you repeat like 6 I am affirmations for 21 days, you start to reprogram your DNA. So wherever you have, some sort of lack or trouble with things, you can actually say I am to literally rewire your DNA. They have proved this scientifically that you can actually do this now. So make sure, you come up with a bunch of powerful I am affirmations, and you also do identity work. It is very powerful to visualize your higher self and who you want to become and so you can jump into that every day and just be fully embodied with that. So you can make those, higher choices towards the right things and the right people and the right situations and all of that. Okay, so I'm going to go through all the signs and say how this is affecting you, and I'll pull some cards too. Hi, Virgo. Okay, so this is giving you a boost in your 8th house. So you could be getting a boost with, your clients, receiving a little bit more money when it comes to your clients. Renegotiating contracts can be going really well for you. When it comes to merging with people, also, you can kind of find more of a boost there too. Better negotiations, better conversations. These are like smooth conversations. So if you've been needing to have a deeper conversation with your significant other after, all the like craziness that has actually gone on with the retrogrades in your 8th house and 7th house, you've definitely gone through it with relationships, but now you know what you want and how you can be more empowered and kind of more authentically yourself at a deeper soulful level. Also, if you've been having trouble, getting in touch with your, deeper sexuality, you can majorly, kind of get a nice boost, like see how you can be more sexy, more magnetic, without the shame, without the guilt. How can you kind of own that in a more empowering way with, how you can attract, so you can attract all the right things to you, more money, better relationships, better everything, because this is kind of like your soulful life force. And, with Neptune here, you're definitely just more connected to that in a big way. And it's important to take accountability of, your life force and make sure you're not giving too much and not getting anything back in return. And, with Neptune here, that can be a little bit hazy, but at the same time, this is perfect for, a big boost up with divine counterpart relationships and really being able to show more of your vulnerable, authentic self and, have more of those soulful conversations. Like I loved Juan Pa when he talked about meeting his woman. Yeah, I think they're married, not wife. Anyway, God, like his soulmate, his divine counterpart, all of that. Like, he went up to her and spoke from that soulful place at like such a, from such a soulful place. Like he thought he sounded like an idiot after because it was very cute. I think he said something like, you want to dance? And, or just something like, when you speak from that soulful place, it is more so from no ego, it is just cute. It is just more innocent. It is just, connecting without any agenda or any, mask on. And just kind of like, speaking from that kind of place to find more of a connection. So yeah, I'm gonna pull cards for you and your person. But also I love the trying to Mars, so there's a lot of healing that can happen when it comes to the past, deep internal healing, letting go of the past and realize maybe where you were holding yourself back, with relationships so you can kind of free yourself, so you can lead, in connections from this deeper soulful place. But also just do a massive deep internal healing with Venus that's going to be, going over the eighth, going over Chiron. You can heal some sort of wounds when it comes to merging with other people. Also, you can enjoy like diving into human design, astrology, tarot, any of those like hidden knowledge things, so you can find more of your embodiment and more of your power. Because Venus conjunct Neptune, like, yeah, this is definitely with Neptune in the eighth house too, like strong connections, soulmate connections, definitely coming in. And you've already had that already, with Neptune in the seventh, but there's even more depth, with the eighth. So like really, but not getting too like lost in the other relationships is going to be very important. So making sure that you find the equilibrium between yourself and the other person, and you are just more empowered in relationships with that. Okay. So yeah, you're stepping into child divine, so you can really like kind of heal, your wounds and find more of that fun, more of that self-expression, more of that creativity. And it looks like your person is coming out as the athlete. So dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps, development of personal willpower and strength of spirit. So yeah, it looks like, I don't know, a strong, maybe masculine energy can come into your life. But okay, so whatever connection this is, it's majorly healing past heartbreak, in between you. Um, deep, deep heartbreak. Three of Swords came out. So it's deep, deep heartbreak from the past. But if you don't lead from those wounds, you can recognize each other even more so, because when you lead from the wounds, you're leading from the ego. And instead, it's like, instead of being fulfilled in this deeper connection, you're just saying, I'm fine on my own, whatever, like, and just you can shut it off really, really fast. Nine of Cups reverse came out on your side. So it's like, yeah, maybe you don't feel like you do want a relationship and you really, want a relationship, but it is like letting yourself be vulnerable. And it looks like your person with Death reverse, they are going through their own kind of transformation, and maybe it'll take a little bit of time. They might be talking from their wounds too a little bit right now. But realize, it's all perspective. I think you guys can kind of have a major breakthrough with this in your connection. And it's kind of like hopefully you can have a breakthrough before it gets to that limit or that last straw. And you might also be, cutting off certain relationships. So, and drawing the line in the sand, if anybody has been taking too much. But also, this is the area of obsession. So realize where you might be getting obsessed with, you could be obsessed with a soulmate relationship where you have to bring your power back to yourself, But it looks like there also might be some things unveiled, some things, coming clear, some messages that make you, that somebody coming clean through a message. But yeah, that will bring a lot of intimacy, a lot of depth, bonding at a whole different level where things were, somebody was distracted or there was delays and setbacks, with all of this in Pisces, it's like confusion land. You can't really see clearly. So I think by the time Venus gets a little bit closer to Chiron, there can be more of those deeper conversations and, more like just of that in-depth connection. So you can have, yeah, a better relationship moving forward with you and your person. Okay, so all right, thank you so much, Virgo. Hi, Libra. Okay, so Venus in your seventh house, you're just getting a nice boost with your one-on-one relationships, and this could be your romantic relationships, this could be your business partners, clients, family, any one-on-one connection that you're dealing with during this time can be, just really smooth, really beneficial. If there's been a need to balance things out, you can really come to new terms, find new ways of balancing, find a new way of being empowered in relationships. But Venus rules you, so you're going to be focused on your relationships and wanting to make them better, to make them more beneficial. And it has to do with shared finances too, where you give and you take money, or where's your life force energy going, and is it really balanced out? Who's paying for what, and those deeper conversations. Is there a need for more intimacy? Is there a need for more fun in your relationship? Because with Venus conjunct Neptune, this is like your rose-colored glasses getting turned on all the way when it comes to your relationships. So make sure you're very high vibe in your relationships, because that's the only way that you can kind of not go through the harsh lessons of the rose-colored glasses in your seventh house. You want to make sure that you're being very high vibe and evolving through relationships at that deeper, soulful level, and you have that self-love and self-respect for yourself first. And then you find that magnetic divine counterpart soulmate relationship that comes in and really boost you up, because divine counterparts, they will always boost you up. They will always you should only date divine counterparts with Neptune in the seventh, because they will always boost you up. You can always co-create with them. You can always it's good for you, it's good for society too, it's good for yeah, just a nice give and take relationship. So Venus is going to be trying Mars in the 11th house. So um this could be a good time to just go out, socialize, like with your significant other, go to a concert, look at the hopes and dreams of your future and kind of get on the same page. And it's like really fiery, and really you can get super excited with that. And then at the end of the month, when Venus is conjunct Chiron, you can heal more of the wounds, when it comes to relationships, have more self-love, so you can have, better, more balanced out relationships. Oh yeah, and Venus making a sextile to Pluto. That's like, um, yeah, going through that evolution of love and self-expression and creativity and feeling empowered with that kind of evolution that can happen. There's a deep, soulful desire now for more love, with, yeah, the seventh house and the fifth house. So, like, you want that deep, soulful evolution, those deeper desires that need to be fulfilled. And yeah. Okay, let's see what's going on between you and your person. Yeah, I think you're going to recognize maybe where you've been overgiving in your relationships. Um, yeah, because Prince came out reversed. So using power for self-aggrandizement, light attribute, romance, charm, potential for power. But reverse, it's kind of like, yeah, maybe there's a way you can see where the energy needs to be balanced out, where you have been accommodating the other person because of their wounds. Child wounded came out for, your person. I used Caroline Miss's deck for this because I feel like it's always so to the point with the archetypes and can be a little harsh, but with this Aries energy, we kind of need it. Um, so yeah, somebody, might be a little bit wounded and they have to recognize their wounds, So the lightness in child wounded is awakens compassion and desire to serve others, wounded children, opens the learning path of forgiveness. But shadow blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, resists moving on through forgiveness. So definitely make sure nobody's playing victim here. And, instead of glazing over any issues, you got to get straight to the point. There's an awakening that can majorly happen here. The tower came out in between you guys. So an awakening in love is definitely happening. And that's kind of like, Mars in the 11th house energy. There's a new way to do things. There's a new way to kind of outreach into the world, into new hopes and dreams, to kind of break out of the box in some way where you don't need to do things the same in relationships. It's all about looking towards the new cycles and the new ways that you can evolve into healthier relationships. And it looks like you're holding on to some sort of, you know, you might be holding on to the past in a heavier way, but there's a need to kind of be able to open up your heart and not to be too blocked off by holding on to what you currently have. Because even though they're coming out as the child wounded, they recognize the soulmate relationship. They are, a soulmate. The lovers came out. And with this awakening, I think things can kind of go in a better direction. So clinging came on, holding on, obsessing, spying. Somebody might be spying, clinging on to this connection in your energy. Trapped came out, stuck, tied down, captive. So yeah, this seems like some sort of soulmate connection that you might be dealing with where you're energetically just intertwined. So it feels like you can't get away from this even if you wanted to. But that's going to lead to a breaking point, the final straw, being like overwhelmed emotionally with something that opens up this awakening and this realization on your end or their end. That's going to help this evolution happen. But instead of holding on to hoping, expecting faith, manifesting, we just talked about how you can't hang on to expectations. You have to just live in the present moment and see how things are playing out right now and have faith that the universe is going to bring you the best person. Don't feel the need to cling or hold on to people or expect things to go a certain way, because with Neptune here, the universe is saying, I want to bring you the best. I want to bring you the highest possible, kind of connection. And that can't happen if you are trying to micromanage the universe, So don't hold on to expectations. You can, the best thing you can do is embody more of that highest self-love. And then you let the universe surprise you. Focus more on what you do want personally. Manifesting, you can easily manifest in a very high level soul connection or an evolution that you really want in your relationship so things can be better. And yeah, see how things go. Every time my phone rings, I hope it's you. And I want to treat you the way you deserve. Messages from your person. All right. Thank you, Libra. Hi, Scorpio. So this has to do with more so your work and your everyday life routines. Venus in the sixth house is saying, how can you be the most empowered with your diet, with your health, with your routines, with your exercise? And, with the South Node in Virgo in general, there's a new way that, everything is being structured. In a year from now, things are going to be completely different when it comes to schedule and structures. And, maybe there's a powerful way at your work that you can help restructure things that is very empowering for you. So instead of slaving away or whatever, there's a way that you can kind of give your input for things to be structured around the work environment that would be beneficial for you and then beneficial for others. Because with Mars in the 10th, there's a nice way you can communicate with, any serious relationship. And this could be a boss, this could be, your coworkers, this could be clients, this could be, your significant other too. Maybe you need them to help around the house a little bit more because you're very ambitious and ready to go after whatever you want. And there's a way like just the daily life can be more empowering for you. Because with Venus or with Neptune here, maybe things are a little bit all over the place and a little bit hazy, and there's kind of a way that you can be more aligned in your divine flow of things. So you can be more in flow with your higher self and following the signs and the synchronicities and being more in the present moment to make the magic happen, especially if you're in a creative job. But really any job, like, so you can just have a little bit more freedom, have a little bit more sovereignty with that. But yeah, communication and, things just when it comes to your relationships, because Mars is you and Venus is your seventh house ruler, which is any relationships. They're going to be trining this whole month. So there's a fiery new way to approach things that can really be refreshing, be exciting, be pioneering. So you can have just a better way to navigate things moving forward. So, this looks like a lot of fun in general. Like, even though the sixth house is kind of like the mundane house, I think there is always a great, fun way to kind of structure your life where things can be more exciting on a daily basis and things can be more empowering. And yeah, so, when Venus conjuncts Chiron, maybe there's wounds that you can heal when it comes to work and making sure that you're not like overworking and, with Mars in the 10th, that you're actually really going after you want and you're being who you want to be and your legacy, your long-term goals and you're fired up with those and you're ready to go. Ready to take the lead, ready to take charge. And then you can step into your dream career and dream, opportunities that are really meant for you. Yeah, maybe you want to be an entrepreneur too. So this is great energy to really start that with also. Okay, so let's see what's going on with you, your relationships. Any messages? Yeah, there's a way you can step into your queen energy even more. Queen came out reversed with you. So realizing the self-empowerment that you can have, more of the self-love, like you didn't come here to be a workhorse. You didn't come here to take on everybody else's responsibilities. Because I know Scorpio, like once they decide to, they will take on all the responsibilities and they will overburden themselves and they will like just because you can do it better and you can like you can do it better and you can pile it all on and you can do it really fast. But also that's not necessarily your job. And there's going to be a power with co-collaborating with people. So Queen came out reverse where you can kind of step into more of your power. So Queen Light radiates regal feminine, uses her benevolent authority to protect others. Shadow becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, controlling and demanding. So Mars in the 10th, maybe there's a way that you can step into more of that leadership role that is empowering for yourself and everybody else. And, finding, let's see, the new way for the new leader is, yeah, it's almost like not, because, you might get people challenging you with Mars, like in the 10th. The new way of kind of leadership, and this kind of reminds me of, the one gene key that's in Aries. Oh yeah, it's kind of like recognizing everybody's opinion, but not getting stuck in your own opinion. Because there can be ways that when we get stuck in our own opinion, whatever that is, and it could be politically, it could be just in life, like people that get stuck in their opinion, they get blocked off, where you can kind of open up your worldview and accept everyone's beliefs, everybody's opinion, everybody's way of doing things, and it kind of opens up your world. Like it doesn't have to be your truth, it doesn't have to be the way you do things, but just being open to it and just saying, yeah, okay, instead of like identifying with your opinion. Where we get stuck and where our society is stuck right now is where everyone's identifying with their certain group or their certain, the left or the right or their certain opinion, where it just causes a bunch of conflict instead of evolving us. So that might be kind of a powerful thing. Um, but yeah, in between you, there's happiness. And you're ready to build the Ten of Pentacles, which is a lot of abundance and a lot of just powerful manifestations, like a really strong, solid foundation. Um, and yeah, it's all about finding the happiness in between you and this other person. And your person kind of came out as a shapeshifter, skilled at navigating through different levels of consciousness. This is the light. Ability to see the potential in everything, shadow projecting any image that serves your personal agenda in the moment. So make sure that whoever is showing up, they're showing up as, who they authentically are. And I think as you as a Scorpio can really see through that anyway. Um, but there's somebody that has been holding back a conversation. And I think actually it's not like out of being malicious or whatever. It is just to keep the peace. So this is kind of where you can have a breakthrough instead of thinking that it was done out of, anything, any ill intent or whatever, where you can kind of have more of a breakthrough. Because yeah, you're kind of being set up for major success anyway, and a lot of power. Like Pluto in the fourth, you're ready to build a very solid foundation, and evolve out of all the family patterns so you can, be really set. So look out for someone holding back communication. You can get to the point because at the end of the day, happiness is going to be found here. The sun came out in between you, and when the sun comes out, it kind of burns away all the negative energy. Um, so that's really positive, at least. Yeah, obscurity, secrets, mysteries, concealing, shallow, hollow, empty, boredom. Yeah, they're just being very surface. Like whoever's not talking, yeah, they're coming forward with truth. And yeah, they were just kind of holding it back because of wanting to keep things more diplomatic and surface, but then you can't really get to the core of things. So clarity is coming out, more truth, more of their intentions, and where you've wanted to know something is, it's going to be cleared up now. Venus and Aries, it's all about that directness, where you can have a lot of breakthroughs. Okay, anything else? Messages from your person. I really do care, even though I don't show it. I'm afraid of commitment, and I want to treat you the way you deserve. All right, thank you so much, Scorpio. Hi, Sagittarius. Okay, so this is a fun placement for you. Venus is in the fifth, so this is all about fun, self-expression, creativity, sex, romance, and you're going through evolution with these things. With Neptune here now, you can majorly have rose-colored glasses when it comes to relationships and love, but also at the same time, you're really calling for that deeper, soulful evolution when it comes to love, that higher soulful evolution. Um, and when Venus conjuncts Chiron, you're going to be kind of going through a healing moment when it comes to these things. Like, where have you been suppressing your creativity so you can, be more empowered with creating more, so you can kind of open up the world and kind of express more of your talents and gifts. And, this can also be a very healing moment when it comes to your kids and having better communication and, just things smoothing out in general. And then with Venus trining Mars, it's like looking at your vision, being empowered by your vision and your beliefs and your philosophies about life. So you can be empowered to expand your world in some way, expand your worldview. And there can be a lot of power with that. Yeah, all this fire coming in for the fire signs, thank God. We're getting like lit up again. So it's time to break out of the box. It's time to have more fun. It's time to maybe plan a trip, go on an adventure. Like it really express your love in certain ways when it comes to relationships, and also, going through that deeper soulful evolution when it comes to your relationships. So let's see what's going on with you and your person. Pioneer came out for you. So light attribute, passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. And yeah, that's majorly like Venus in the fifth. Like there are new ways of creating that you can kind of get in touch with. And the more that you just follow your creativity to create, like the more it really does evolve, into the new. There's with Neptune in Aries, there's going to be a lot of new just music and art and just like media and all the good things. Like there's a new way to create. There's a new paradigm coming in with what we're creating, and you're the trailblazer with creating. And your person is coming out as the rebel, so challenges authority to affect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs, and shadow rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. So yeah, it looks like you have a rebel on your hands. But I kind of like this, the pioneer and the rebel, because you're going through some sort of um evolution, together. And Venus making a sextile to Pluto, there is a way that you can kind of go through a powerful evolution when it comes to the way that you communicate, the way you think, the way you go about your daily life, where you can have a lot more freedom. You can have a lot of creative breakthroughs and use a lot of creativity so you can have, just less restriction in your everyday life. That can be very powerful. And it looks like you're not seeing eye to eye, but it's because you're you're both so in between you, Two of Swords came out, and then Eight of Swords. So this is literally just a mental blockage that's you guys aren't seeing eye to eye, or you guys aren't communicating, and it is just perceived mentally. Like it's all the mental blocks that's kind of stopping, maybe more powerful communication in love, maybe to see the other person's side a little bit more, instead of like keeping going to your separate corners and staying blocked off and not communicating and not seeing eye to eye and all of that. But it looks like you're dealing with some sort of heavy burden. The Ten of Wands came out. And when that Ten of Wands comes out, it has to do with some sort of beliefs, I think there's a way that you can powerfully break through when it comes to your beliefs by kind of going on this, because when you go into creativity and when you start like expressing yourself in a more authentic way, you give yourself more of that freedom, and it completely does change your beliefs. And you see how you can create your world in a more powerful way and have your own unique adventure. And I think you can have a major breakthrough and drop the Ten of Wands, which is all this burden and usually other people's burdens that you've just been carrying because of some sort of belief system, matrix belief system that you've been hanging on to. And Rebel came out as the Tower. So your person, Tower came out on their side. So they're going to, go through some sort of awakening, some sort of just insight, some sort of just different way that they perceived this relationship altogether. And I think, let me clarify, let's see, in between. Because it's obviously just not seeing each other's point of view, not seeing each other's point of view, staying blind to it. Um, the Knight of Cups came out. So some compassionate conversation can happen in between you guys where I think this will, and it's from the heart, it's not from the ego. Because this is ego talk, like when everyone's stuck in the mind and wanting to control the way that things go and the way things that are being perceived, instead of just like speaking from the heart and just like letting it, the truth, the heart, soulful truth, like kind of be out there and just be known. That will kind of set off an awakening in your person. And also maybe this sort of tower moment, is awakening you in some way, like. Okay, so let's see what else. Beauty came out, obsession, and chemistry. So yeah, there is some sort of beauty, and this just reminds me of creation in general. See the butterfly, you can kind of, there is some sort of metamorphosis that is coming from connecting to more of that love and finding more of the beauty in things, and connecting to more of the universal love. So yeah, beauty, charming, graceful, kind-hearted. The beauty is opening up your world in some way. And yeah, there might be somebody, by the way, this is a good time to date with Venus in the fifth house. You could be meeting somebody new. Chemistry, attraction, spark, passion. This reminds me majorly of those strong soulmate connections where there's just that Kundalini energy, there's that recognition, there's that magnetism. Oh yeah, because obsession came out. So that's like major magnetism, major infatuation, adoration, addiction, where yeah, so I want to be surprised, especially with Jupiter going into your eighth, and all this fifth house stuff going on, if you have a strong soulmate twin flame connection, possibly even. So yeah, let's see, because that's what it looks like, where you can find more of the beauty in life and more, soulful alignment, in that way. And it is about you at the end of the day. You're finding a new way to pioneer in love and relationships and in life and your creativity that's going to open up your world in a whole new way. So, any more messages from your person? I'm ready for commitment. You can move really fast in certain relationships, that's for sure. And then I let people manipulate me into ghosting you. Anything else? They will never compare to you. All right. Thank you so much, Sagittarius. Hi, Capricorn. Okay, so this is happening in your fourth house of home, family, foundation. And I think there can be a new way that you make your roots, make your environment that is really, just suits you really well. Because Neptune in the fourth house, it's kind of giving you this higher flow and you're at home, and you can be an entrepreneur actually and have just so many creative ideas. Like if you're doing anything creative at home, like you can receive so many just, insights and downloads and just like, have a lot of breakthroughs. At the same time, Venus trine Mars in the eighth, you can cut through a lot of, you can have a lot of deep internal healing, like where you held on to stuff from the past. And when it comes to home and family, that can, you can find more compassion and more forgiveness and kind of release that. So you can just be more emboldened and way more empowered and have more of a core that's really, fired up. And yeah, release any ways of maybe caring too much when it comes to projections, from other people and the way you live your life, and actually, like, yeah, living life the way you want to live it. There's a new way you can kind of like find more balance, more harmony in your home and your everyday life, and maybe even have those conversations. Mars in the eighth isn't always comfortable because you maybe have to have those conversations and be very direct with it. But there is a nice trine at least, with the masculine and feminine energy where you can find the new ways of being in relationships and merging in relationships, especially if you live with somebody else, where you can have those deeper conversations and see that there's a better way to do things that can be beneficial to you and beneficial to them. But yeah, really taking account of your life force energy and where it's going and make sure that there's balanced relationships. But also if you're living with or yeah, your close intimate relationship can also get a really, big fiery boost at this time too, just getting along, maybe being homebodies, but having a lot of, intimacy and passion and kind of having a lot of breakthroughs with that. But yeah, Venus also rules your career. So, maybe you do decide that you do want to move, especially with Neptune that's recently come here, and you want to show up out in the world in a different way. And then Venus rules your fifth house too. So just more love, more creativity, more, if you're, yeah, being an entrepreneur, maybe you want to, start that and start pouring your creativity into that. But yeah, more love and how you show up out in the world and how can you maybe put more of your creativity out in the world and yeah, be really empowered with that. So let's see what's going on with you and your person. So you're releasing a major way of maybe being too logical. Engineer came out reverse, like where you previously thought you had to have everything organized and going according to plan, where you're not leaning more into that creative energy and the flow of things, where you can release more of the logic, release more of the ego, and find that abundance of that creative flow and being in tune with divine timing and following the signs and the synchronicities, and you're listening to your higher soulful self where you can find, an empowering flow. And I think you're dealing child wounded came out for your person. So in a light way, awakens compassion, desire to serve others, serve other wounded children, open the learning path of forgiveness. And shadow blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, resist moving forward through forgiveness. So I think by you healing yourself, you can be empowered in choosing forgiveness and choosing more of that unconditional love and not letting any wounds, stop you, um, you know, from getting into more, a more healthy relationship with someone who's also healed through those wounds. Because if you don't heal those wounds, you're going to be attracting people that will point out those wounds for you. So, and you'll recognize the wounds in the other person because you went through it. So make sure you're healing and doing that deep dive so you don't deal with somebody that wants to stay in their wounded self and not, evolve. So the Hierophant came out. More commitment. There can be a way that you guys like commit more with being on the same page, with having more of that higher connection and that higher resonance. So you can the Hierophant is like it's commitment, it is marriage, it is like, really like kind of getting into that divine counterpart energy and merging together. But it's also you have to have that spirituality and that belief and faith and be on the same page with that. So things can be more solid. Um, so yeah, maybe you want to have those deeper conversations and kind of look to where you're going in the future. See, these two cats right here, it's kind of like, they're both listening to, and they both have this higher vision that they want to commit to. So you can kind of renegotiate things and be more firm. And you came out as the Queen of Wands, so it's like there's a new way to do all of this. And you are instead of, being stuck in the mind, you are listening to that fiery intuition. So maybe if you are agitated at home or just like internally, that's letting you know there's a new way to do things that is, pioneering energy that can be more balanced. Because yeah, things will be balanced out with your person. Judgment came out. So, either they're getting called out on their stuff, they're getting over stuff, but they're going to realize maybe that they do have to listen to you and that there is a new way to balance out the mind and the heart moving forward. Um, okay, anything else? Clinging, holding on, obsessing, spying. Make sure you're not hanging on too tightly, and wasting all your energy towards, obsessing over somebody because Mars in the eighth, you can lean into those obsessive tendencies when it comes to relationships. Intuition came out. So heart songs, telepathy, inner knowing. I think you're really, connected to this person at that soulful level. So there's that telepathy. There is that inner knowing of, each other and everything. But yeah, there's a silence that you can break through, where you have been, where there was a wall where, where things were stonewalled before, where you can kind of, instead of just having that soulful knowing, you can kind of go deeper and, break through that wall to like go to the next level of commitment, whatever that, or with whatever that is, maybe getting married, maybe moving in together, starting a family. You can really kind of break through like whatever has been stopping that higher commitment from coming in. Um, because yeah, Jupiter's getting ready to go in your seventh, which is magical. You're about to have a whole year of, a lot of growth in relationships that is, really good. Like this only comes around once every 12 years where you can find a mutually beneficial relationship that is just brings both of you a lot of growth, a lot of abundance, a lot of fulfillment. I mean, Jupiter's exalted in the seventh house too. So yeah. Okay, so we're meant messages from your person. We're meant to be together. I will wait as long as it takes for a shot with you. I keep hoping to bump into you everywhere I go, and then I can't let you go. All right, thank you so much, Capricorn. Hi, Aquarius. So this is happening in your third house, which is whatever you do in your everyday life. If you work on social media, if you do write, if you do any sort of creativity like that, you can get a really, really big creative boost when it comes to writing and just creating in your everyday life. You do have this higher connection with Neptune now that just giving you a lot of inspirational ideas all the time. So make sure that's going somewhere. But also, this is really good, a healing moment when it comes to community and maybe finding your community, dealing with your siblings. You can have like kind of a healing moment with them, with Venus conjuncting Chiron. Better communication in your relationships with Venus. That's going to be trining Mars. This entire time. There can be a new way of communicating, a new way of being in relationships, because you want to rush forward in relationships with Mars in the seventh house. You're wanting to go, wanting to get on the same page, wanting to get aligned. Also, cutting out any relationships that aren't serving you. But yeah, your mindset can be very improved during this time, and your everyday life could just be running a lot smoother. Creative projects could be running smoother. Maybe you meet somebody online dating. Actually, this could be a really powerful time to meet somebody online or on a dating app. Um, yeah, and Venus rules your ninth house, so there can be, maybe you want to plan a trip, maybe you want to start teaching, learning something new, and you can have major breakthroughs, with how you even structure your everyday life that allows more creativity, allows more pioneering energy, allows like a way that, just works for you as an individual with how you want to structure your everyday life. Instead of going by the status quo. Um, okay, so let's see what's going on with you and your person. And I love how Venus is going to be sextiling Jupiter, I think at the end of this. Will it? Yeah. Yeah, I think. Wait, let me just check. Oh, I wish I included Jupiter. Oh, well. Yep. just for a little bit. So yeah, you'll be getting a boost. This is still a really lucky time for you to date, for you to connect to your self-expression and your creativity. You can have an abundance of creative ideas and yeah, just a lot of breakthroughs, creative wise. Okay, but also with dating. So, okay, let's see. What's your card? And things around the home, could be, making it more empowering for you. Okay, so you're a visionary. Yep, you're connecting to majorly your visionary ideas, and you're going through an evolution. With Venus making a sextile to Pluto, it's going to allow you to come up with, like, you're connected to the higher ways of doing things and the inspiration and just the better ideas that community can even be structured. So really, wherever you're getting those visionary ideas that could help others, make sure you kind of let people know you are a leader in this new era. So you need to kind of let us know what you're seeing. How can we how can you take your unique Aquarian ideas to help the collective and feel very empowered with that? And, they're coming out, your person's coming out as the hero or heroine. So there's somebody that really is empowered and ready to go on this journey with you, ready to be a teammate. And they're not, just being a boosted up ego trip kind of hero, you know. Okay, which it would be unhealthy, Leo. So in between you, Queen of Wands came out. So it's kind of like you're both ready to do things in a new way, like this trailblazing new way that is, more in tune with like divine feminine energy and seeing new paths and new ways to do things. And so feel free to go through some sort of evolution in your relationship that would be very empowering. So you're getting in touch with your own inner vision, with what you truly want in relationships and just in life in general. That's making you a magician. Magician came out on your side, and that just fits so well for the visionary. So you're getting in tune with your inner world and what you truly want. That's going to give you everything that you need to kind of move forward and bring that inspiration and that creativity and the right relationships to work with, and just the right ways to move forward with people that are very empowered and not people that are, maybe, what is this? Ace of Wands came out on their side, so they're just passionate. They want a passionate new beginning. They want a passionate new way to do things. Emperor. So yeah, it might be a little bit of a boss battle, like who's in charge, I guess. But with that, you can find the new way actually that will serve both of you and get on the same page. But it's going to take some sort of fresh communication and, a fresh way of looking at things. And you're the visionary with it. So whatever you're feeling really called to is going to be the most important thing. Okay, distracted. So it's kind of like getting to some sort of conversation or some sort of, that was possibly delayed and maybe you had to deal with some changes, but it's finally, getting back to that conversation. They're coming out as the emperor. So let them, if you're a divine feminine, especially, like, let them take charge, towards you, but you hold your vision of what you really want. And foundation, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys moved, pretty fast. Like, you can really establish more family, more security, more of a solid foundation. But it's going to come from these fresh ideas and this fresh vision of how you're seeing things. And yeah, divine masculine came out twice, so yang energy, majorly going through an evolution, divine masculine energy. But that's going to lead you to healthier ways to take action, because we both have masculine and feminine. So let your masculine kind of go through this pioneering evolution so you can structure your everyday life in a way that really serves you, and feel free to be, take charge and create life the way you want to create it. And yeah, see who fits in with that besides maybe going through this face off and feeling like you need to cave to anybody because you don't. You actually have the power with Pluto in the first house. Like you have the divine will for the collective just working through you right now so you can be a powerful leader. So more messages from your person. I ran because I wasn't ready for you. I'm on my way to you. And I want a future with you. So yeah, it looks like easily with the right person, you can, really get aligned. But know your vision. And, if you're the masculine, know what you want, know your vision, take action towards that vision. And if you're the feminine, stay in tune with that visionary and your magnetism and be the center of your universe and, know what's being created inside of you so you can pull all the right people and the right opportunities and the right, yeah, things to you. All right. Thank you so much, Aquarius. Hi, Pisces. Okay. So this is happening in your, second house of money, your income, your finances. How can you take charge in that area of life so you can, be supportive, so you can be a pioneer, like really connect to those higher ideals and those higher visions when it comes to creating money, because magical things can really happen with Venus in the second house. I know from a Aquarius rising, magic happened, just shitloads of money coming in all the time, like, oh shit, there's a big, okay, sorry, I'm cussing, but like, oh my God, like, where are these bills coming from and where did that money go? Then all of a sudden, inspirational idea, so much more money coming in. Oh wow, it's amazing. So it's very important to not be deceived, I guess, with money at the same time. But you can have, very inspirational ideas for abundance moving forward and take that seriously because with Venus here right now, it's like you're getting in touch with what that vision and what you're truly passionate about. What do you value? What makes you empowered? What do you want to go after? And getting in touch with that before Saturn gets here. So when Saturn gets here, it's like, okay, you get to take that vision, you get to be responsible with that vision now. And with Pluto in the 12th, it's like, yeah, if you spend some time in your internal world and connecting to your higher self, you can get very powerful ideas that help the collective evolve. And you can also make money off of it, though. And you can maybe this is major and entrepreneur vibes, like you can take charge in your everyday life and your routines and your schedule and create it the way you want to. So Mars in the sixth house, it's like, maybe you're getting along with coworkers more, maybe projects, you're launching projects and they're really, moving forward and taking off and, it's actually nice. And yeah, but, you can be getting a money boost, you can be getting paid more, you could be receiving more, all of that. You can, if you want a better job, you can, get hired and, receive a better opportunity around this time too. So yeah, let's see what's going on with you and your person. Oh, Venus rules the eighth house too. So feeling empowered to have those conversations when it comes to you and a significant relationship. So things are, balanced out financially, or maybe there's those that need to have those deeper conversations with Chiron in the second. You can, heal more of those self-worth wounds and step into more of yourself so you can, have those deeper, uncomfortable conversations of what you want in a relationship and what's going to really support you. And yeah, because Venus also rules your third house, better ways to communicate that is very empowering and new ways of looking at things that gives you a better mindset and better ways to structure your life all around. Okay, so with you and your person, let's see. Mentor came out. You came out as the mentor. So it seems like you're passing along some sort of wisdom, um, refining the student's character, like you're leaning into your deep, natural, soulful wisdom, especially with, Saturn that just is getting out of the first house. So you're responsible with your vision and you've gained a lot of wisdom with that. Congratulations. That's not always an easy transit. But you have a lot of wisdom to give now to the right people, and your person's coming out as the healer. So somebody that will give back to you as much as you give. Passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit, ability to help transform pain into more healing. So I really like that. You guys are both coming out, pretty strong. It's in between you. Ten of Cups. So it's like maybe there can be some sort of realignment though with better communication. So you can get in a, aligned with the Ten of Cups. The sun came out reversed. So it's like facing where you might be unhappy right now. So you can have more of those conversations because it's really important to be empowered with those conversations. So you open up the world to you. Wow, it's so crazy. This is really strong. So the world came out reverse for you. So it's like you have to insert your will in some way because there's this cycle that's played out that needs to be done with, that you need to listen to your happiness so you can start this new cycle off right. So you can go towards the Ten of Cups together with you and your person and you and the right person. And the Wheel of Fortune came out on their side. So again, this is like a cycle starting, a new cycle. They're ready for a new cycle. They're ready for this new way of being in relationships. But yeah, it's very important that you're not keeping your vision repressed, because actually you coming out as the mentor, that is like you kind of being the leader in some way. Okay. But it's all about starting this new cycle off kind of in an empowering way. But the Ten of Cups coming out in between you, this looks really like a long-term soulmate relationship that can be very happy. And, it is a soulmate relationship where you can grow and evolve and connect to those, higher soulful vibes and everything to bring all of your manifestations in. But yeah, okay. So with somebody, there is somebody that you need to draw the line with, boundaries. No, draw the line. Enough is enough. You know, spying, somebody might be spying on you. So, social network information, ways. But it's kind of like getting to the point where somebody, elusive came out. So dishonesty, deception, trickery, where you might have gotten some clarity, especially when it comes to this Venus retrograde and Neptune out of your first house, where you can see your long-term vision more clearly. And, with Saturn here at the last little bit, like it's like you're taking, how to pixelize that vision and get serious about it now versus maybe falling into hopefulness or the higher visions and not fully seeing clearly. So yeah, make sure you draw boundaries, especially when it comes to your money, that you are monitoring your time and your energy, and you're making sure that it's going towards your own manifestations, and that you find, the powerful significant other that wants to be a healer with you, and that does make you happy, and you are aligning with towards the long term and where you want to go. So yeah, messages from your person, because it seems like one person might need to be cut out. I don't know if it's romantic or whatever, but recognize where you might be stalled in a certain karmic cycle. I'm afraid that I lost you forever, and I can't let you go. All right, thank you so much, Pisces. Hi, Aries. Okay, this is a really nice one for you because Venus entering your fifth house, first house again, makes you very magnetic. It makes you attractive. You can manifest more, you can attract more, you're receiving more attention. you're just like boosted up. Like your Venus rules your seventh house, so people could just be, giving you more attention. It's going to be very easy to meet somebody if you're single. So you have mega manifestation power, especially with Neptune in the first. You can really just hold your vision and become like be very glamorous in general, and be very just visionary with what you want. So, Venus going over Chiron, you can heal some wounds so you can step into more of your full embodiment and be more powerful. And Venus, that's going to be trining Mars. That's like a big creative boost. That's a sexy boost too. That's more love, more romance, more creativity, more self-expression. Yeah, very, very easy to meet somebody if you're single. That could, maybe get serious very fast with Saturn going into your first pretty soon too. But make sure you don't have the rose-colored glasses, that you're staying very high vibe in general, so you attract all the right people to you. And but yeah, Mars is you, and so you're focused on fun and creativity and your kids if you have kids, and having a big passionate love boost. Like we're getting out of the fire signs are getting out of the healing cavern with all this water. So um now the fire is lit. Now you're ready to go. Now you're ready to take charge. You're ready to be a pioneer in a whole new way and embody more of your higher self and, just go balls to the wall. So that's exciting. And definitely take advantage of this time from now until June 6th, of just all your magnetism. And yeah, the first house is how you can kind of create your whole life. And it starts with you stepping into your most powerful, authentic, bold self. And, so you can attract the right people to you because Venus, that'll be making a sextile to Pluto. That's like going through, a powerful evolution with who you're friends with and who you're networking with. You can network with powerful people. You can be very influential online. And just finding your own unique style to attract the right people and opportunities to you. Okay, so let's see what's going on between you and your person. And with Jupiter in the third house, you're very charismatic, very social, very like wanting to connect with people and very just like charming, So yeah, definitely, it's time to socialize and kind of be out and about. So Destroyer came out. So if you've been, the only way that you would be very agitated during this time is if you're not fully stepping into your power, if you're not stepping into your creativity, if you're not like really being fully embodied, you'll feel like that deep agitation and frustration, like, what am I doing? Like, like you want to go somewhere, you want to do something, you want to get that energy out, you want to, like that fire is being lit and it's asking you to go towards some sort of new that lights that fire, that lights that passion. So Destroyer came out on your side, releasing what is potentially destructive, preparing for a new life, because you are getting ready for a whole new chapter with Saturn that's going to be entering your first, and you have to know what that is going to look like. But so be very patient though. It is, again, finding that patience. Like you are getting along with your significant other if you are in a relationship because, there's a trine here, but also there can still be a lot of fire. But yeah, it's kind of like wherever you have been suppressing yourself, and you might have just been suppressing yourself because you've been in healing mode with Saturn that's been in the 12th house for so long, where you're setting yourself free by being more embodied and knowing what you want and like stepping more into your power, your charisma, and your magnetism and speaking up for yourself, where you didn't before, where you maybe let things go, where you maybe let things slide, where Trickster came out with your relationship. So light with your some sort of relationship, there might be some, doesn't have to be your significant other, but so light attribute, transcending convention, stuffiness, unpredictable behavior. Shadow attribute is manipulating others through duplicity. So maybe somebody's not being straightforward, but at the same time, trickster energy is good because it is asking you to go towards the new. It is magician energy, and used in the right way, it is kind of recognizing all the tools that you have right now so you can manifest in a better way with your significant other. So they might be withholding information though, a page of where they've wanted to talk to you, but maybe they're a little scared of that Aries fire. But they need like you, but it's up to you. You can go have that conversation, be straightforward with your wants and your needs and make it clear. So you can get it all out on the table and, like be more emboldened with what you really want. Because the Queen of Wands came out reverse in between you. So somebody needs to speak up for themselves and declare more of what they want in love and passion in life, more fun, more adventure, more creativity. Because, yeah, it is turbo Aries mode, and you got to listen to that spark, listen to that fire. So, influences, somebody might be listening to third parties. Make sure you're listening to yourself, and that you're not being manipulated by anybody with Pluto in the 11th house. At the end of the day, you have to listen to your own inner fire and your own inner vision of what you truly want to be in alignment with yourself, not the way the rest of society is doing everything. You have to get into silence, get into your own, world to know what you want. And then you can be on a better page. Yeah, because it's all about building a foundation. Foundation came out, and maybe you're releasing old, foundations like from the past and, bad family patterns and stuff like that. But that's so you can be empowered with the security that you want moving forward, because this Mars retrograde definitely kicked all of that up with, Mars retrograde in the fourth. But now you know what you don't want. Now you know what to clear out, and now you're being bold and like just going after it, with the right relationships that want to manifest with you. But it all starts with you really standing in your power and in your vision and in your inner knowing. Okay, so messages from your person. I'm afraid that I lost you forever, and we're meant to be together. I will wait as long as it takes for a shot with you. So definitely be prepared with, Neptune in your first for those strong soulmate relationships to come into your life. But also you got to put yourself first, where there's no more dimming your light. There's no more waiting. There's no more being on hold. You got to listen to what you want and your own heart's desires and take action. And yeah, know that you can do it yourself, and the right relationships will meet you along the way. All right. Thank you so much, Aries. Hi, Taurus. I'm excited for us because I have a lot of Taurus too. And oh my God, just that never ending Venus in Pisces was like, oh, just like watery loop. Like, I don't know. I'm ready for some action, even if Venus is going in the 12th house. At least we get the fire back. At least we get more inspiration versus, probably just being, because Venus rules you. So, like, really getting in tune with your inner vision and what you truly want when it comes to your hopes and your dreams. And, it is a very fated push in a certain direction and cutting out certain people, but being aligned with other people. But at least we're not in just watery, breaking through a lot of karmic loops and patterns at the same times when it comes to relationships. That was massively ending a lot of cycles when it comes to relationships, with Venus and Pisces. Even though Venus is exalted in Pisces, we truly got to really get aligned with receiver mode. But I'm excited to see, what it is like with this higher inspiration from our higher selves. I think there's going to be a lot less nostalgia and looking back to the past, a lot more new and refreshment, and we're just receiving it by, downloading. So make sure you spend some time in hermit mode, like really connecting to your higher self and those higher inspirations and working on creativity and those passion projects. So you can really just be aligned with those deeper soulful needs. And, it is a little bit selfish hermit mode back here. So you can really listen to your creativity and those higher inspirations that want to come in through you. And it is for yourself, but it's also for, the highest good of all, whatever you could be channeling. So give yourself time to rest and retreat, go on a spiritual retreat, really connect to your internal world, listen to all those amazing, inspirations that are coming in. Pay attention to your dreams. It's a good time to like have a dream journal. Um, yeah, all of that stuff. And then but yeah, you getting in tune with your deeper self and your deeper soulful needs can help you go through this powerful evolution with how you want to show up out in the world for the collective. Because with the, Venus making a sextile to Pluto, it's like there's this powerful evolution that you can stand, more as your authentic self and be a powerful person. But it really starts with you getting in touch with, who you truly authentically are at that deeper soulful level and what your deeper needs are. So you can be more of a powerhouse out in the world and not let any fears or projections or whatever it is from other people like stop you from, really expressing your true creativity out in the world. And yeah, with Venus going over Chiron, maybe there's some sort of deeper wounds that you heal when it comes to the past and relationships, and maybe those limiting blocks that we might have when it comes to and programming that we might have when it comes to abundance and self-expression and creativity and all of those Venus things. But I like Venus trine, Mars in the fourth. So it's kind of like you're feeling empowered, at home and, maybe diving into those creative projects and, really getting along in your relationships. You can have those deeper conversations that you've needed to have with, Venus that rules you, and Mars that rules your significant other. You can get aligned, there can be this nice passionate flow of being on the same page and maybe going through the past and, really letting it go and healing so you can create more of a solid foundation and have more passion and fun. Venus also rules your sixth house, so maybe it's realizing where you can restructure things, work smarter, not harder. And you can work smarter, not harder by letting really relaxing back into the creativity and letting your higher self speak to you so you can do things in a better way. So let's see what's going on with you and your person. And yeah, lots of creative ideas could be coming in that could give you a money boost too. Okay, let's see what's going on with you and your person, Taurus. Alchemist. So you came out as the alchemist reverse. So it's whatever you didn't even realize was holding you back when it comes to relationships or money. You're seeing how you can alchemize things now, because when the 12th house is activated, it's all the things that we didn't see. And with Aries ruling the 12th house, it's like what we didn't see about empowering ourselves. That is so frustrating as a Taurus sometimes. But so you can go through this alchemist so you can transform things, so you can pour everything into creativity, so you have more of that wisdom from the past, so you can go after your goals, so you can put yourself first. And they came out as the guide reverse. So the guide upright represents the nature of the divine in life in yourself. Shadow guide is places financial gain in control over imparting spiritual insights. So yeah, maybe there's a way that some person in your life like needed to be more in touch with the divine themselves. And you're going to be more in touch with the divine than anybody. So it's really important for you to just really be in tune with your and maybe they didn't know until they knew. Like sometimes like everyone can only give advice when it comes to where they're at in life and their perspective and their own wisdom. So make sure you're tuning into like maybe you don't need a guide anymore. Maybe you really do just have to have more of that faith and trust with your inner world and what insight you're receiving. And that's actually how you're going to be the most powerful. Okay. So King of Wands came out in between you. So there is some sort of leadership here. Um, wait. So your significant other too can be very ballsy at this time. Mars that rules your seventh house in, Leo. It's like courageous, it's bold, it's dramatic. It wants the love of like the love overload in a dramatic way. But yeah, also at the same time focus in on home and family. So, but yeah, there is new love that can be found here in a new bold way. I love how the King and Queen of Wands keep on coming out. So it's like maybe we're realizing where you didn't see something about, relationships where you can kind of go through your own awakening. And it's an awakening that was kind of suppressed, where you didn't see things before, where you can free yourself from something so you can see things in a better way and have more freedom in relationships and have this new way of being in love in relationships. Ace of Cups came out between you guys. So there is a new beginning with love, but it's all about being a pioneer with love, being embracing new cycles with love, and letting the communication come in from your person. Somebody wants to talk to you. Something's been on their mind. So be open, be open to the possible ways that this can go. Be open to the possibilities because you got to let the universe surprise you. You got to stay open to oneness and, unconditional love and the connection to everything. And that's how things can be very beneficial. So perspective came out, new perspectives coming, better off, happiness, clear. Yeah. New perspectives about commitment, actually. Commitment, marriage promises, fidelity, that can kind of start the new relationships off that might be, you know, um, whatever serves you the best. And one day, someday, somewhere, another time, somebody might be afraid of commitment, but I think there's a way that you can commit in this soulful way that is more passionate, that is more exciting, and just kind of opens up your perspective in some way to let the higher love kind of flood in. So let's see. Any messages from your person? I have been working on myself. Mars retrograde. They've been working on themselves. And I think it's all about you guys coming back together with different perspectives and finding this nice new middle ground. I want to kiss you. And I sabotaged our connection because it was too intense. That makes sense. You're probably going through, evolution with deeper, powerful connections with Pluto at an angle and everything. And Pluto rules your house of relationships. So, very powerful, magnetic, intense soul connections could be coming your way. And sometimes, yeah, people do run from those because they are intense. And like you don't know that they even exist till you go through them and they're intense. And, it's a process, with depending on how activated you are and how activated they are. And you kind of just have to let things unfold. And even if you want to move fast, like really fast into it right away, sometimes it's good to let things progress and let the awakenings happen so things can be transmuted. And yeah, I think that's what's happening here too. Like transmute things are being transmuted on both sides, but it's like, love with fire. So you can get on the same page and, start this new beginning with more emotions and this deep emotional fulfillment. And that is more calm, that is more grounded, that is more committed too at the same time. All right. Thank you so much, Taurus. Okay, there we go. Hi, Cancer. Okay, so this is a big one for you. This is all about, and this is a nice thing you can take advantage of before Saturn moves here because you're going to be taking your career, your legacy, who you are out in the world, your reputation very seriously now. And, with Venus here and Neptune here, first, you're getting in touch with the inspirations and being a pioneer and going after what excites you, looking for the new adventure and the new trail and whatever's you're truly passionate about. So you can show up out in the world the way you really show up out in the world. And, um, with Pluto in the eighth, you might be going through this evolution when it comes to the eighth house things, which could be deeper insecurities. It could be deeper fears or shame or guilt or any internal blocks that you've been holding on to. So you can do the shadow work and release it and feel just more powerful out in the world and say, who cares? This is my life, not anybody else's life, and live life the way you want to live it and feel like bold and confident to go out and start, whatever you want to start. I wish like I had more cardinal energy for this because I admire how fast you guys start things and go and go and go and just like, you just like go like off and it's like blazing a trail. I have so much fixed, so like I have a hard time doing that. So yeah, be the fire starter. Know how you want to shine out in the world and go after what you're truly passionate about and let your action kind of dissolve any fears that were holding you back. And also that's like you stepping up as the leader in your life. You can really, let the right people come your way, not holding on to people out of fear or insecurity or need to cling on to people. Um, for whatever reason. Like you can really go through this evolution with how you merge with people. And it all starts from you first with your vision, your dreams, and how you shine out in the world in the biggest, boldest way. And, with Chiron here, you can go through a healing moment when it comes to your reputation and your career. So you can step more into your empowered self and not let any wounds like hold you back. Realize how you can be more in flow, like be less in control of how you're being perceived and just surrender to more of your higher self and be more emboldened by that. So you can, express more of your authentic self, and whoever likes it, great. Whoever doesn't, who cares? Who cares? You're making your dreams happen and you're going to go after it. Okay, so let's see what's going on. So yeah, it is a good time to really have powerful I am affirmations with how you want to show up out in the world. Really visualize your higher self that you want to step into and yeah, ultimately where you want to go. It's all going to come from you. And you can receive more opportunities. You could receive, a promotion during this time. You could just be receiving more reward and recognition. Um, and that can definitely help heal a lot of wounds too. So Martyr came out, and Martyr in a good way is learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. You love giving, you love nurturing, you love taking care of people, but there's this quote like, I don't know, like Jesus says or whatever. I'm not super religious, but it is like a law of abundance kind of thing where you can give only give your pearls, which is like your time and your energy and your money, to those that help themselves because you don't want to get stuck in people that won't heal themselves or people stuck in their own victim mentality when, you can help people, but they have to want to help themselves. Otherwise, you're just going to be giving all your time and your energy and your money to people that don't, want to help themselves. And that is exhausting. I've done that before too many times, and it is exhausting. It will deplete you. It will deplete your life first. Yep. And so, yeah, somebody, in your world, it does look like heroine came out reversed. So somebody might be a little bit too much in their ego. I don't know if this is you and your person, but yeah, whoever's stuck in their ego, hero light attribute is passion for a journey of personal empowerment. Shadow is escapism and a false sense of heroism. So make sure you're merging with people that are really stepping up to be a hero with you, to go after the next challenge, to be bold, be courageous, really like look at this far off goal, like distant goal, because these are long-term goals up in the 10th house, in that they want to go for the ride with you. Because the chariot came out reversed, so it does look like a powerful relationships do want to come in and help boost you up in a certain direction. Um, but you have to make sure there's space for that certain relationship. So in between you, you in a certain relationship, there's the star and there's the chariot. That is you getting aligned with your long-term vision, your goals and your hopes and your dreams, and you're ready to break out into the new and the inspiring and what really like is really passionate, and see who's working with you, who is your yin to your yang, and like it's a co-creative uplifting relationship. And there's a way you can speak up for yourself a little bit more. And maybe this is at work, maybe this is, just out in life. The 10th house is a very public house. So it does have to do with like marriage, and it does have to do with work relationships, and just any relationships that you might be really tied to. So make sure you speak up for yourself and you don't feel like you're rescuing somebody, but like, then you get to pity yourself because you're rescuing them. And it's like, what about them? Doesn't matter. Like you have to be in charge with your own energy. And, because, yeah, it does look like for some of you, this might be a disconnection with one significant relationship. Ace of Cups came out reversed, but that's so you can have an evolution with love. So it might be in your current relationship. It might be, maybe you cutting somebody off so you can be in a more powerful relationship. But either way, it looks really powerful. Like with Mars here, you're really standing up for yourself and your self-worth and where you're spending your money, and, putting all your time and your energy into creative endeavors and, the right relationships that are really aligned and really bold and really, ready to be on the same page as you. So you can go out and evolve and conquer the world. Okay, so any other messages? Yeah, you got to be the hero for the right relationships. And it's great to help people, but you got to know who to help. So memories, reminiscing, dwelling, bittersweet. It might be bittersweet because, some relationships just come in for a time or a season, but, they're not always good for our whole life journey. Lusting came out. So forbidden, non-committal, sexual energy. Make sure you're getting that. And then perspective. Make sure you're getting that wider perspective. And what's going to lead both of you to happiness at the end of the day? Because sometimes we can lust after somebody, but maybe they're non-committal, or maybe it's just that they're forbidden in some way where we can kind of heal and kind of go through a deeper evolution when it comes to sexuality and, our attachment styles. So we can have like realize what's really going to make us happy. That's going to be the most important thing with these powerful relationships. And a powerful relationship definitely wants to come in for you, but you have to. Oh man, that just like stopped for some reason. Okay, let's go back. I hope that's saved. Okay, anyway, you like are paying attention to how you're feeling in these relationships, and you're not being too attached. You're not just like needing, craving, wanting. Like you are like paying attention to how you feel and making sure you feel good in the right relationships, because the divine counterpart relationships will boost you up. You will feel like they're co-creating with you. You will feel like you can make a better world pretty much in general with the right relationships, and that you're not hanging on to, the ones that are nostalgic, but keeping you stuck in some ways and keeping you stuck in certain patterns. All right. Thank you so much, Cancer. Hi, Leo. We're on turbo mode after this healing mode over here. Now, Venus is in Aries, giving us a big boost. Like, it's going to be trining us. So, your ascendant. So, we're looking good. We're feeling good. We're receiving, just more luck and more opportunity. The ninth house is the Dharma house. So, it's how you can get aligned with your natural luck and meaning and purpose in life. So you just feel, when you get aligned here, with what you're supposed to be doing, your meaning and deeper fulfillment, everything else kind of aligns in a lot easier way. So you might be expanding your worldview, you might be traveling, you might have just this bigger optimistic lens that everything is working out in your favor and you are God's favorite again, where think the world can really open up for you and a lot of opportunities can come your way. And with this nice trine to Mars in your first, like, Mars in your first, be careful with, you know, like getting burns or something, like, I don't know, from the stove or whatever, because we're ready to take action, ready to go, ready to take charge, but make sure you're not being, I guess, too reckless because it's a lot of fire, like after all that water, where we might just feel like, launching out of the gate and just going um, where, yeah, we just have a very empowering belief system. And, we can really watch magic happen in our everyday lives. And we got to be in flow with divine timing and maybe follow the signs and the synchronicities and not be too rigid on one way of believing that the world works like this. The way Neptune is helpful here is that it can open up our world to the way the world actually works at a universal level versus being stuck in any one religion and, joining a cult or something that can actually like not be good, obviously. But I like Venus making a sextile to Pluto because that's an evolution with significant relationships and making sure that you're not holding on too tightly to any relationship out of fear, out of insecurity, out of needing to control things, that you're really knowing that you're on the best, highest timeline now, but you have to be open to that. And, it might be beneficial to not have a time, like be too planned, be too rigid with expectations, with the way you want things to go. Just be open to the universe's plan and know that the more that you're in flow with that, the more the world will open up for you. And, Venus making a sextile to Jupiter, it's like, yeah, like lots of friends, lots of networking, lots of different people, lots of, maybe a social media boost, a different way that the world kind of opens up for you. That's very, exciting, that and very refreshing. Oh, crap. Oh my God. Everything's going wrong at the end of this. Okay. So, okay. Um, but this is going to be very nice, like after all of that heavy healing stuff. Just don't go too turbo, I guess. Have a healing moment with your beliefs. With Venus, Chiron in the ninth house, like, yeah, I've had wounds about maybe like stepping up and teaching or being a mentor and with my beliefs and like maybe believing in like the new pioneering ways of believing and spiritual awakenings that kind of made kind of made me believe in like a bigger universal worldview that is not common here yet. It is very pioneering, but like at a deep soulful level, I kind of know this is the direction that we're going. Um, so, kind of, yeah, opening up your, to what you believe in, not being afraid to like speak up and be a powerful voice. So you kind of get people to believe in the oneness of humanity versus being trapped in thinking that we're all divided by the ways that religion has like divided us all, because at the core of every religion, that is all of the truth. And then there's the 25% of most religions that's a bunch of man-made bullshit that keeps us all divided, which was never the actual original truth of things. So yeah, feel free to step up more so as a leader, as a mentor, as a guide with your knowledge and your evolution that you've been going through. And yeah, okay, so let's see what's going on. Also, having trust and faith with your big, bold vision of what's really meant for you and knowing that exciting things are really coming your way. So let's see. what's coming up with you and your person? With Mars in the first house, you might be facing, some challenges when it comes to people, especially with it opposite Pluto. You might have, well, that's done now at least, but not caving out of fear, not, you know, dealing with other people's projections, really standing in your heart and your truth and feeling courageous with that. So you are the shapeshifter. You are evolving in a big way right now, and you have been evolving with all this eighth house stuff and with Saturn finally getting out of there. That is the biggest evolution that you will go through with all this eighth house. You have been cutting yourself free from, ways of attaching, any fears, any deeper anxieties, any shame, any guilt, from society that isn't deeply soulfully resonant with you and who you are and who you're evolving into. You're connected to the higher universal love. And the more that you connect to that and be open and have more forgiveness and compassion for yourself and everybody else's journey, and the more you're connected to that oneness, the more you can, be in touch with what's really meant for you, and the gifts that are really meant for you. So with your person, rebel and vampire came out, so that kind of makes sense. There might be somebody being a little bit rebellious, maybe shaking things up. Rebel in the light way is challenges authority to affect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve the inner needs. So maybe they're showing you a way to kind of be rebellious when it comes to spirituality and different ways of knowledge and thinking. Shadow rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebel without a cause. So make sure you're not just rebelling to rebelling and you're not getting, stuck in, you know, somebody else's cause, basically. There's going to be a lot of like revolts in general with like people, but you got to make sure that like creation is the way to go, not challenging, not fighting all the time. Everyone goes stuck in fighting and challenging and fighting what's already there, when if everybody just focused on creating, we would be in a better world already. And vampire came out, so vampire makes you aware of somebody or something that is draining your life force. So be aware of that, because that can happen. Don't obsess over somebody and get stuck in power plays and manipulative dynamics, and somebody just wanting your time and your energy and your validation. And this can definitely happen over social media. So you give the power back to yourself, and you realize, like, recognize where you can be depleted psychically, even, and don't get stuck in codependency. And then shapeshifter in a light way is, yeah, just realizing your ability to navigate everything and your ability to see the potential in everything can give you more tools of, different ways of creating. In a shadow way, it's projecting any image that serves your personal agenda in the moment. So this is where, if you're open up to oneness and everybody's beliefs and everybody's opinions, it can actually serve you more versus being stuck in your, opinion, I guess. That's a good way of evolving into more love and more, oneness. Okay, so Ten of Cups came out reversed. So there might be a way that you thought like your happily ever after was going to look, but lo and behold, we're entering a whole new era, a whole new world, and a very different time in humanity, where the whole world is changing, where that is gone, and that was an illusion in the first place. Any of those Disney stories or any of those, whatever, get married, have kids, live in a house, be stuck there. That, doesn't work for everybody, and that doesn't make a lot of people happy at that deeper soul level. So it's really getting in touch with your happily ever after. That's really more so meant for you and not meant for society, because the world is opening up for you, and you're getting in touch with that by being the pioneer and taking the lead first. Like the spiritual, like a spiritual leader isn't a leader because they have followers. They're a leader because they go first. And that's kind of you. You're going first to see what this whole new world is about. So it's kind of like releasing any like dense sadness about the way you thought like life should have gone or life should look right now, because you're a pioneer for a reason. And, it's up to you to kind of go in this new direction. So, and Ace of Pentacles came out on your person's side. So there's somebody giving you an offer. There's somebody giving you some sort of stability here, obviously. Make sure maybe it's the rebel and not the vampire. It is somebody that's willing to go on this rebellious, like, new journey with you, that's kind of open to this different ways of thinking that can, be very, yeah, be very opening, because yeah, your seventh house being ruled by Aquarius, like, your significant other is always going to be different in some way. They're always going to be innovative. They're always going to be weird. They're always going to be like, I don't know, sometimes mad scientist in the best way, kind of person. Especially now with Pluto there, might amp it up a lot. Um, but yeah, so in between you, it's like memories, reminiscing, dwelling, bittersweet. It is good to look back at the past, but not hang on to the past to create your future. And loyalty, you're going to see who's like really reliable, who can you trust, who can you really grow and evolve with. And, it might take some, withdrawing into yourself to find that the answers within. So you're not, holding on to anybody out of fear or anxiety, and you're not clinging on. So somebody might be obsessing, holding on, obsessing, spying, but make sure you're not doing that, and that you've resolved all of that with the eighth house stuff. So you can set yourself free and set yourself off into the better world of what's really meant for you, because it's going to be a lot bigger and a lot grander, but you have to believe in it first before the universe can give it to you. All right, Leo, thank you so much. Enjoy the fiery adventure that's kickstarting for you with everything entering the fire signs. Also, Venus rules your 10th house and your third house. So there can be a whole new way of communicating that feels, very bold and empowering. And then a whole different way that you're showing up out in the world, with Venus and Neptune, like in Aries, there can be new like trends, new exciting ways that of beauty and all of that. And maybe you get to try them first and, like be a trailblazer with that. All right. Thank you so much, Leo. It came out twice.